One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet whom millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to a Saturday edition of the Fanfare with Barry Cunningham. Usually I told you I was going to be taking Saturdays and Sundays off, depending on what happens. Well, I think we're going to have to ask Congress to pass a law, or at least put everybody on notice. When President Trump says he's going down here to Palm Beach, coming down to Mar-a-Lago, and he's got no events scheduled on his calendar, we all need to brace ourselves, because stuff is definitely going to happen. And boy, oh boy, how busy today has become. It's amazing. I'm thinking he's going to be down around the links, just out there hitting the ball around, riding around in the golf cart. But nope. He is finding that Friday night and Saturday are his best days. He's going to live his best life on Friday and Saturday afternoon. And today, if this streak continues, I may have to adjust and figure out this is going to be a 6-day-a-week show from now on, because wow, absolute wow, what is happening right now. Some of you guys are probably thinking, what in the hell is Barry talking about? I did see somebody, what is Barry talking about that the storm is here? I don't want to euphemize it, but if you don't see what's happening, if you have not been following it along at home, if you haven't put the Jeopardy home game down and started paying attention, not only is the storm here, it is freaking raging. It is absolutely raging. So I've got a few different segments today. Today's going to be a little bit different than a normal show, because I had to put it together, and I have a lot to cover, a whole lot to cover. But I want to start by just doing a little bit of tidying up in Minnesota. I don't know if it's tidying up, but not spend a whole lot of time, but because we got some big news to talk about. But let's talk about Minnesota.
As a lifelong Minneapolis resident, I just want to come on here and say I'm sorry. I am so sorry that everyone in my state is so retarded. I'm exhausted of it too. How do you think the rest of us here feel? Believe it or not, most of us here in Minnesota aren't psychotic liberals. We just want our state back. We just want the state and the city of Minneapolis and the Twin Cities that we knew and loved growing up. We just want that back. But these absolutely insane liberals, these communists, they are literally communists, have taken over everything. Do you know how embarrassing it is to say that I'm from Minneapolis? Because the only time that Minneapolis is ever in the news is because of something awful. Whether it was COVID snitch lines or the George Floyd riots or that incident that happened at the Catholic school, obviously the Somalian fraudster, and now of course the incident with ICE. I am ashamed to be from here. I am ashamed, okay? Especially because it didn't always used to be this way. So I am actually coming on here and begging. I am begging for prayers at this point for my hometown. I'm so tired, y'all. We are so tired. Please pray for us. You know, I got out of Minneapolis just at the right time because I had moved back here after living in Boston for a little bit, and I bought a home in North Minneapolis. And last year when Omar Fateh started running and my property taxes went up 10%, I saw the writing on the wall and I knew that I had to leave. Obviously, there was a lot more that came into consideration besides just those two things. Those were kind of like the tip of the iceberg. A lot of crime. A lot of crime happening. Amongst other things like essential resources just not happening. We live in Minnesota. It's a very snowy state, and the streets in my neighborhood sometimes weren't getting plowed for 2 days. All of this just horrible stuff was happening while I was living downtown, and of course I was paying just ungodly amounts in taxes, so I felt pushed out. So I had to move to the suburbs, and we sold our house. I loved that house. I loved where I lived. That was my first house. Like, I didn't want to leave, but I felt forced to, and thank God I did, because we got out at the right time. It's about to get really ugly here, so again, please, you guys, pray for us here. I swear we are not all as retarded as the Somalians and liberals here.
Oh. It's easy to think when we're watching TV and we're seeing, some of the stuff that's going on and these people being absolutely nuts. This is what's going on there right now in terms of how insane it is. It's easy to lose perspective and realize not everybody in Minneapolis and in Minnesota that whole area. They're not all crazy. Just like not everybody who lives in New York is all crazy. Not like everybody in California is all crazy. But this is what we end up seeing. We're looking at this insanity. Now, I want to tell you something in case you haven't looked. I don't like, people say sometimes I talk down. No, I want to give stats. If you already know this stat, well, then that's good for you. But as you're looking at that, what are we looking at? 5,000? 10,000 people? Well, let me be the first to tell you if you don't know. In Minneapolis itself, there are 450,000 people who live in Minneapolis. 450,000. In the tri-area whatever it's called, St. Paul, Minneapolis, and that whole area, there's like 4.5 million people who live in that area. Yet, this is what the media shows us. This is what the media continues to just put on air 24/7 to make you think the entirety of the area is going crazy when it's really this much. And that's not even including the people they had to import to even get to those kind of numbers. How many of those people, like the woman who got, popped, aren't even from there? They just show up to complain and protest. They will actually drive and fly to go protest. I don't know who's paying them. Don't really care. But I feel, because tomorrow's Sunday, if people are asking for prayers and saying, can you help us out? Can you pray for us? Because this isn't who we are. That's not who we are whatsoever. That's a small percentage of the actual people who live in that area. But the media has to make sure everybody sees all aspects of this. It's 24/7, which I'm kind of fine with. I'm kind of fine with them showing that stuff over and over, because the more of this stuff that they show, the other stuff they're not even paying attention to. And so the libnuts, the rhinos, the black pillars as they're now known, y'all can go ahead and focus on this stuff. We're not going to be focusing on that.
Oh gosh. Where do I go? Where do I start? Hi, I'm Samantha, and yes, I live in Minnesota. No, I'm not a proud Minnesotan. It's another day of embarrassment. We are definitely in a FAFO era. I pray for our state. I pray for our supposed leaders who are not taking their position seriously. They have allowed so much to go wrong. And us Minnesotans, the ones who have been woken to all of what's going on, we're sick and tired of it. We want our money back. We want our state back. We want our flag back. Is that too much to ask? Can y'all just start listening to the ICE agents, to DHS? Is that so hard to ask? Help us. Minnesota needs desperate help.
So when you hear that, when you hear those kind of, like, I could have dropped in like 20 of those heartfelt replies like, hey man, I want to go downtown and I can't go downtown because these people are packing the street. We can't go anywhere unless somebody's got a kind dangler, fangler, making all kinds of noise. Man, dinka, 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 all day, all night long. We're being held captive by these people. And I'm telling you right now, if these 10,000 people go crazy tonight, if those people burn houses and everything else, I'm going to pray for the people's property that they are going to destroy. But other than that, I could care less. I don't care. Burn it up. Hopefully the people that are in harm's way will blame their own government and say, you got to go. And I'm not being heartless in terms of understanding, innocent people may be caught up in this. I'm saying I've had enough. I've had it to here. This is not supposed to be this way, obviously. That's a duh moment. But it's only this way because I believe the media concentrates on showing it 24/7 and gaslighting everybody about how bad it is. And I'm pretty sure right around the corner, kids are on their sleds. There's no ICE agents bothering the kids. There's no ICE agents doing anything to normal people who are supposed to live there. There is no line as far as the Democrats and libtards are. If you're there, everybody's the same. And they're getting that from everything that they've been taught in Marxist school, and you heard it from Mandami. There are no individuals. It is all the collective, and it doesn't matter who is made up of that collective. As far as they're concerned, all welcome, all get to stay, and everybody gets to, drain the government. We've got to back away from that and understand there are some good people there. There are some people who don't want to be mired in that muck. That's who we need to be thinking about. Here's another one that showed up today. It said, holy crap, Minneapolis police have officially surrendered the streets to leftist agitators who have their own traffic force. These people are now terrorizing the local businesses. This is funded, very well organized, arrest the funders. The police, sorry, we can't help you. What do you mean you can't help me? Well, we're being overrun. We've been told to stand down. The police in these neighborhoods have been told to stand down. Remember that in November, and the November after that, and the November after that. They told you you're on your own. We cannot help you. That's your one job. That is the most singular function of a government, whether it's federal or local, is to protect the residents. And right now, they've been, we're done. They walked away. Imagine that. Imagine that your police department, you call 911 and they tell you, can't help you. Well, why the hell am I paying taxes? Which is becoming a very common refrain. Why the hell am I paying you? You see, last night, and I can't show it here because the powers that be definitely don't like it. But last night we learned about something. We learned that this mob was going into the downtown area. And when they went through the downtown area, they were going from hotel to hotel looking for ICE agents. And they were breaking in and going down the hallway with the clang dangers, been flangers, making all kinds of noise, going down the hallway trying to find an ICE agent. If you didn't think or didn't quite believe there was a God, after what they did last night, that proves once again there is a God. And you're thinking, Barry, what in the heck are you talking about? I talked to one of my police buddies. I kind of knew from my dad being in the Army. And I said, what happens when you guys are on deployment and you're maybe at a hotel or someplace? Y'all just go ahead and lay down together and go to sleep and just wait until the alarm clock rings? Of course not. There's probably guys on the roof looking, making sure there's nobody approaching. There's probably guys with radios, and a couple guys are taking shifts. You sleep now, I'll sleep a bit later. And we're watching and we're listening. So as you're coming down the street with your clang danglers and fang manglers, and you're making all this noise, you don't think they can see you coming? So at that point, the people who can see you coming and they're looking at you from the rooftop, they have two choices. Are we going to make a stand here? Are we going to be like Sundance Kid and go crazy? Or are we just going to pop out? And more than likely, if they see it coming, they're going to avoid the situation. But let's say they didn't have the lookout. Let's assume these guys aren't normal cops. They're not really normal military. They're ICE agents, and they all bedded down. Hey, it's been a long day. I'll see you in the morning. Let's go to sleep. What do you think would have happened if those idiots that were going from hotel to hotel room found an ICE agent and they banged on the door and kicked in the door? And you've been in a hotel. The doors aren't just going to fall apart. They're very strong doors. So you're going to be banging on the door and you think you're like storming the castle like something in Game of Thrones, and you're banging and banging and banging. But what you don't understand is the guy on the other side of the door, or the two guys on the other side of the door, they don't have slingshots. They're saying, hey, listen, we're under siege here. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay right now. You got enough ammo? Yeah, I'm pretty good right now. What do you think would have happened if they had breached those hotel room doors, if the guys had been in there and they kicked it in and they started rushing in? Well, God was there to make sure that didn't happen. Because if people came rushing in and a couple guys that are armed to the hilt, and you got fang danglers and cling tanglers, it would have been Kent State. And it would have been deserved. I am not going to let 100 people storm my room and try to do whatever they had, in plan if they had found me. Did you not have an idea what would happen if you actually came upon an ICE agent in one of those hotel rooms? Did nobody tell the group? All right, so if we happen to find somebody, I think what we need to do is make sure we just stay outside the door and cling to fang langlers. No, they would have charged at them. And at that point, a heavily armed law enforcement officer would have been pop, 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 pop. Change the mag, pop, pop, pop. And if they had done that in 2 or 3 different rooms, same thing would have occurred. Put that on rewind. Pop, 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 pop. They'd have dropped them as they walked in the door. There could have been a mass casualty event. Completely justified. So whoever is funding these idiots is not warning these idiots. Don't take it too far. You saw what happened with the lady who tried to run the car, and there's people out there trying to discern what her intention was. There would be no discernment here. If you're charging into somebody's hotel room, there's no discernment. It's open season. Just as if you're home watching TV and you're sitting on the couch and you hear people coming up and they're banging on the door and they're breaking the windows. What are you going to do? Well, you're going to grab whatever you have and you're going to take a few of these people with you. Like I said, God was watching over both sides last night. And I prayed. I actually prayed. I'm like, when I saw the things happening and I saw them moving, I'm like, please don't let them try to kick in one of these doors. I can hear you coming. I can't go out that way. I'm on the 7th floor. I can't rappel down the window. Nobody's ever going to expect me to rappel down the window. So let me get ready. And as I'm ready, as you're coming through that door, bink, 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 bink. And then the reporters would have said, he could have just shot him in the leg. No, you shouldn't have kicked in the freaking door. How come with everybody with the cameras wasn't telling people, this isn't a good idea? This isn't a good idea to go trying to charge into the hotel room of a armed law enforcement officer that you're going to try and do whatever you can do. He's going to do the exact same thing, but he's got weapons. It proved to me at that point that these people, including the media, are trying to get these people killed. They want a Kent State moment. We're trying to avoid it. I'm sure if they relocated or whatever they had to do, they don't want to just open fire on these people. Don't make me do it. So I ask, as you're going into church tomorrow, that you pray for some of these law enforcement officers, male and female, that they don't have to do what they are trained to do. Pray for these idiots to have some sort of mental discernment, some sort of epiphany where they realize this might not be a good idea. We'll run around out here and we can, burn businesses and write graffiti, but maybe trying to trap a law enforcement officer might not be the best idea. And I don't think many people, I didn't see anybody actually talking about that. I would never want to just bum rush somebody who's got the drop on me and is armed. These aren't ninjas. They're not going to come through the ceiling tiles. Even if they did that, bang, bang, bang. We're seeing the end of the Democrat Party. They are getting desperate, and they're going to be further desperate with what happened today. I'll be back in 90 seconds and tell you what transpired today.
back to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Breaking news now, the United States has launched an attack in Syria. Good afternoon, I'm John Scott, and this is the Fox Report. It's the second time the U.S. military has launched airstrikes against Islamic State in Syria since December 19th to avenge the killing of 2 Iowa National Guard soldiers and their American interpreter by a lone ISIS gunman.
Okay, so somebody had asked, what's the storm thing about? That's the storm. Like I mentioned, President Trump was supposed to be taking the weekend off down here in Palm Beach. And all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose. They end up bombing Syria, I believe at about 12:30 Eastern, our time. They sent the planes in to bomb Syria. And then you have what's going on in Iran, which cannot be exclusive there. Those two things are probably altogether mutual in terms of what's happening on that side of the world. Now, before I can get to what's the bombing in Syria and what's going on in Iran, we need to go back and look at Venezuela. A story dropped today that if you have not seen it, you will hear this and you will indeed go, oh crap, the storm is indeed here. It's not a nice story, but it's a story nonetheless. And I went back into my archives and started pulling videos. And one of the reasons why I continually tell you, listen to what the man says. Not trying to be Paul McCartney there, but listen to what he says when he says things. This is also one of the reasons why many people either fell for or listened to the 17th letter stuff, because oftentimes the communications, the comms that you hear are foretelling what's about to happen. And so I'm going to show you a comm here from April of 2024 before I get into what happened in Venezuela that we are now just learning about. President Trump said this, it's just a 17-second blip. 17 seconds of, now I understand what the hell he meant. But at the time, hey, yeah, you're just writing, you're taking notes. You guys are watching the video because it was a press conference, so you're probably here watching it with me. Now. After everything I've been telling you for like the last month or two, you need, whenever this man talks, even like talking like yesterday to the oil guys, listen to every frickin' word. He is going to be dropping things that are probably highlights for what's coming. Like, for instance, yesterday, he said, I am going to take, or we are going to take Greenland one way or the other. It's not an if, it's just a when and a little bit of how, not an if. He said that. So Trump said, I'm taking Greenland. Write it down. Obviously, this guy doesn't bluff that much. Now, let me tell you how easy taking Greenland will be. Greenland, big country, big landmass country, has an United States Air Force base up there that they say holds about 6,000 people, because we defend Greenland from forces that are bad guys. The Greenland Army, the entirety of the Greenland Army is 150 people. I didn't say 150,000. I didn't say 15,000. 150 people. So when you hear President Trump talk about Greenland, we've already taken Greenland. We just haven't put our flag up. It's literally walking down the hall and go, you guys either get out or die. Just whatever you need to do, get on a boat. We're changing the flag. That's it. There's nothing they can do. Nothing. By the time somebody, rowed a boat from Denmark, it's already got our flag. They've got a White House replica up there. There's no help coming for you. So imagine that. You're sitting there and you watch that show, that conference last night, and you go, one way or the other, we're taking it. It wasn't an if. At that point, you can do all the tweeting and crap that you want, But the 150 or 60 people up in Greenland are left looking around going, are we now Americans? Yeah, well, you're not American, but you're going to be answering to one. Because there's 5,000 guys out here, ladies as well, and they're going to make sure you understand we're raising the red, white, and blue. Take this one, put it in a bag somewhere. You won't need it. So let me let you listen to this 16-second comm from April of 2024 before I get into what happened in Venezuela. Oops, I hit the wrong button. Let me go back here. Sorry, I hit the wrong button. That was my fault. I meant to hit this one.
And we're very powerful. This country is very powerful. Let me tell you, it's far more powerful than people understand. We have weaponry that nobody has any idea what it is, and it is the most powerful weapons in the world that we have. More powerful than anybody, not even close.
April 24, he's answering a question from somebody in the press, and he just lets them know, you don't even know what we got. None of us paid attention. I didn't pay any attention. Maybe you did. Maybe you remembered that and go, I remember when he said that. Little did we know what was going to be happening in Venezuela. So there's been very few details about how did they actually go over, drop into a country, do what they needed to do, grab the leader of that country, and bring him back here to stand trial. How did they do that? Well, General Raising Cane gave us some, military stuff, but it still had some open questions. Like, how? I mean, they're a big country. I'm sure they've got guys with guns too. How did we drop in with like 20 or 30 people and just completely subdue everybody? So I want you to watch this little piece here. It's going to go back to the Fox thing because I had to rewind, but here we go.
2 Iowa National Guard soldiers and their American interpreter by a lone ISIS gunman.
Shame the government didn't approve them. There's so many applications for causing short-term paralysis. Tony. When I ordered the hit on you.
All right, so that was obviously from Iron Man. And again, so you had the comm from President Trump. You see things in the movies. Like, is that real? Are they really doing this kind of stuff? You notice that, what's his name? Kirk Douglas's son. He had the things in his ears to block whatever it was he was doing, whatever kind of radio pulse he was using. Didn't have to fire a shot. Didn't have to pull a gun. Didn't have to use a knife. Just, and it was over. Now, what I'm going to show you today, could it be propaganda? It absolutely could be. But you're going to have countries and other bad guys who are wondering, wait a minute, could this be true? If it's true, oh shit, excuse my language. So I want to show you something that Caroline Levitt posted earlier today that has basically the people who aren't paying attention to morons in Minnesota has people going, oh my God, are we there? She posted this. She said, stop what you're doing and read this. The press secretary for the White House reposts something and says, stop whatever you're doing and read this. Which, of course, if I see something from Caroline Levitt, I'm like, okay, what she go? Oh, we got a press conference. Stop and read this. In order for her to post that, the big guys had to tell her, you're clear. I'm pretty sure it had to go through General Kane. I'm pretty sure it had to be looked at by Pete Hegseth. And then, of course, the boss had to look at it and go, yeah, okay, it's out there. Whether they wanted it out there or somebody else put it out there, they acknowledged it as being true. You, after seeing this, you're going to have to make up your own minds. But without further ado, let's take a look at this because this is some crazy stuff. All right, this was written by a guy named Mike Netter, and Mike Netter is I don't know who he is. He's from Galvin. No, he owns a podcast, I guess, Rebuild California. But nonetheless, she retweeted this. This story, if you haven't read it, is kind of long, but like she said, you need to read every damn word. This account from a Venezuelan security guard loyal to Nicolas Maduro is absolutely chilling, and it explains a lot about why the tone across Latin America has suddenly changed. Now, right there, you understand the people who remain in Venezuela are telling us, yeah, we'll sell you, we'll give you the oil. We know that Colombia was like, oh, no, you can't do anything. Oh, yeah. Can I come to the White House? People are now hearing about stuff, and we're wondering, why are they capitulating? Why did so-and-so decide, I don't know, maybe I should go talk to this guy? So that could lend credence as well. Remember what President Trump said to the stand-in president of Venezuela? If you don't do what we tell you to do, you're going to meet a face worse than Maduro. I don't need to bring you back to court in New York. So now listen to this. Security guard that this guy interviewed, or somebody interviewed. On the day of the operation, we didn't hear anything coming. We were on guard, but suddenly all of our radar systems shut down without any explanation. The next thing we saw were drones, a lot of drones flying over our positions. We didn't know how to react. Interviewer, so what happened next? How was the main attack? Security guard, after those drones appeared, some helicopters arrived, but there were very few. I think barely 8 helicopters. Now understand, they're flying into another country with the mission is to take the president or assuming president of that country out, and they only sent in 8 helicopters. From those helicopters, soldiers came down, but even then, a very small number, like 20 or so. Maybe 20 men, but those men were technologically very advanced. They didn't look like anything we've ever fought against before. Interviewer, and then the battle began? Yes, but it was a massacre. We were hundreds, but we had no chance. They were shooting with such precision and speed. It seemed like each soldier was firing 300 rounds per minute. We couldn't do anything. I don't know enough about weaponry to know what kind of gun can be handheld and firing 300 rounds per minute. That to me would be a whole lot of bullets. They're firing 300 rounds per minute. Or that's what it felt like. Interview, and your own weapons, didn't they help? Not at all. No help at all. Because it wasn't just the weapons. This is where it gets good. At one point, they launched something. I don't know how to describe it. It was like a very intense sound wave. Suddenly, I felt like my head was exploding from the inside. We all started bleeding from the nose. Some were vomiting blood. We fell to the ground, unable to move. What the hell was that? Also, there's another account that the guy started pooping themselves right there. So your head feels like exploding. You're bleeding out of your nose. You can't hear, you can't see, and you're defecating all over down your legs. And then that's not even the worst part. And your comrades, did they manage to resist? No, not at all. Those 20 men, without a single casualty, killed hundreds of us. We had no way to compete with their technology, with their weapons. I swear I've never seen anything like it. We couldn't even stand up after that sonic weapon or whatever it is hit. So do you think the rest of the region should think twice before confronting the Americans? Security guard, without a doubt, I'm sending a warning to anyone who thinks they can fight the United States. They have no idea what they're capable of. I think somebody else said that. I'm pretty sure somebody said, y'all don't even know what you're getting into.
And we're very powerful. This country is very powerful. Let me tell you, it's far more powerful than people understand. We have weaponry that nobody has any idea what it is, and it is the most powerful weapons in the world that we have. More powerful than anybody, not even close.
What is it? See, we're all sitting here watching this stuff, and I hope you guys at the same time people are saying DEW, people are saying Sonic stuff. Whatever it is, it rendered an entire group of, let's say a unit completely incapacitated and useless. See, when I heard that nobody really got hurt, that's pretty much saying they don't even get off enough of a shot before they're dropping and they're paralyzed and they're bleeding out of their noses and pooping down their legs and everything else. And they're probably going, what the hell is happening? Well, you don't even know what kind of technology we have. Well, we do now. Interview. Now that he says, after what I saw, I never want to be on the other side of that again. They're not to be messed with. Interviewer. And now that Trump has said Mexico is on the list, do you think the situation will change in Latin America? Definitely. Everyone is already talking about this. No one wants to go through what we went through. Now everyone thinks twice. What happened here is going to change a lot of things, not just in Venezuela, but throughout the region, possibly throughout the world. So that account was spreading like wildfire before they saw Caroline Leavitt posted. Then Caroline Leavitt posted it, and it was like, wait a second. Is she saying it's true? Oh, she said, stop whatever you're doing and read this. The White House press secretary, believe her or not, understanding that she works for the president, she posted it. I have no way to discount it. My only job per se is to let you know what the president, what the White House has said. Because if she's a mouthpiece for the president, somebody told her, go ahead and post it. We need to let people know what we got, even though nobody knows what we have. And it takes you all the way back to Pete Hegseth and when he was going through his confirmation hearings. And you kept hearing him say, different than anything anybody else has said. He was talking about lethality, the warrior ethos. And back then, oh yeah, he's making like, just words up, trying to change the methodology, getting away from the DEI and the bald-headed tranny and everything else. He's doing something different. Little did we know is that lethality that he was talking about, they meant it. Now, I doubt this stuff got developed in a year. So who else knew about this stuff, and did we have it before? Now, would he use it on Americans? Well, you just saw a big crowd in Minnesota. If I were them, I would be reading this and going, maybe we might want to chill out. We're not going to have to shoot them like we did in Venezuela, but we could pretty much immobilize that entire crowd without ever going in. Blip, blip, blip. And they're done. It's kind of chilling. It's definitely kind of chilling in terms of, is that true? Could it be true? What are we looking at? So with that being said, let me take a second. I'm going to take some comments from you guys because I'd love to hear what you have to say about this, because this is just otherworldly in terms of what I just read to you and probably what you're thinking it could be. So hold on to that. I'm going to tell you real quick about Patriot Addict and something they have. So I'm going to change screens here real quick because I got to show you. All right, so Patriot Addict, who's been with me for a number of, almost a year, they got this package where they're giving you the Trump hat that's too small for my big head, but I can get it on. You're going to get this. You're going to get this right here as part of what they're calling the berry pack. You're going to get the hat. You're going to get the Trump red knife. You familiar with that? You're going to get the Trump red knife. In addition to the Trump red knife, you're going to get the Trump 45, 47 signature blade with a signature on the edge in case you ever have to use this. It's both these knives. You guys know about these knives. They're heavy duty. They're great. This one, the black one, is extremely sharp. So far, you get the hat. You get both knives, both of those two knives. You get the Trump flag, and let me put it around here, make sure I can see, so you guys can see it. You get the Trump flag. Let me hold it still so you can see it. You get that big flag that you can fly out the door. And on top of that, you also get the Trump blanket. And this is that big blanket I've been showing you guys for quite some time. This is the Trump blanket. Big blanket, very warm, big blanket. All right, so you get all that. You get the hat, you get both knives, you get the flag, and and the blanket, and you get this for free too. You get the Trump Force One. You get the Trump Force One as a part of that package. So you got $380 worth of Trump collectibles just for 69 bucks. Sounds like a good deal. Just go to berrypack.com, and that'll get you everything that you need. So thanks to Patriot Addict for everything you guys do, and I'll be back in 90 seconds, and we will take some comments.
Welcome back to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
All right, so I'd love to hear what you guys think. It says it's the Ultra EMP. I don't even know what that is. But even with the EMP, one of the things that was kind of weird to me was we've all heard of EMPs, but I never heard of an EMP that you could then turn right back on. It's not like they left the country or the region in darkness. They blew it out, and then somehow it came right back on. So that's pretty crazy. Absolutely crazy. Yeah, Gina, America is the superpower. Caroline stated in the post the guy only said only 8 soldiers came down from the helicopters. Imagine that. It took 8 guys to go in and do this. This is crazy. They probably can set the intensity just to get them to stop what they're doing and knock sense into them. Yeah, I think if I felt something that made my head kind of bleed and my nose bleed and make me pee and poop down my pants and paralyze me, yeah, I pretty much would be done. I'm done. I don't know what that was. That's worse than if you had shot me. It's got to affect the nerve system. See, I'm asking you guys because I'm waiting to see if any of you guys see it. Because one of the things that I asked, yeah, you're right, your boy, it had to be some kind of sonic pulse weapon. When President Trump said nobody else has this type of stuff, you got to believe at this point, the other nations are looking and going, what did they do? And I'm sure many of the people who survived were giving interviews to many people. What the hell just happened? I mean, this is like Star Wars stuff. You come down there with lasers. I don't know. I mean, if some of you guys know weaponry, I don't know if Maximus is here, but what can fire 300 rounds per minute? Now, obviously, he's exaggerating. I don't think there's anything that can do 300 rounds per minute, and I even think less that it's somebody could carry. I don't think you could rappel from a helicopter, drop down, and carry this thing that can fire 300 rounds per minute. I don't know. Maybe you guys do. But in any event, whether you choose to believe it or choose not to believe it, the thing with it is it worked. Whatever they did, it worked. Secondly, the president authorized, obviously, Caroline to put it out there. Was it put it out there to scare people or to let people know? Because at this point, all of us can have some side of conjecture. We can think what it might have been. What could it have been? I don't know. But I do know I don't want to be on the other side of it. I mean, we've talked about some of the fires in some of these areas being directed energy weapons. If you guys haven't looked into directed energy weapons, you want to go down that rabbit hole. You think the 17th letter is crazy. Start looking at DEW. Start looking at some of the stuff that people have been showing and saying we have DEW. DEW is basically at that point we're in Star Wars. And if we have perfected Star Wars to a mobile capacity, meaning you don't have to be somewhere hitting a button that somebody can carry it, we're in a whole different world. And I'm totally talking spitballing here. All I do know is we took that guy out of that country with a couple people, not a whole regiment, and then just came back in under 2 hours. Zoop, fit, out. How? See, that's crazy. What do we hear? The scary part is if that technology falls into the wrong hands. Yeah, I can hear that. Those weapons are in space. What did somebody say? It's a very bad tinnitus. Let's hear something. That movie, The Predator. Yeah, exactly. A railgun. Germany's machine gun can do 200. Exactly. Well, crazy. So anyway, I wanted to share that with you so you guys can begin thinking and talking amongst yourselves. And because I don't have any definitive answers, not a single person reading and commenting on that post, which has been spread everywhere, has the answer. And we're not getting anything from Pete Hegseth or President Trump other than we got some stuff for you. And if that's true, that's scary. And if it's not true, it's still scary, because then what the hell was it? And here's what Robin said to me, and I thought was extremely, extremely funny. If she posted, you got to read this, and she was authorized to say, you got to read this. If that's what they're willing to tell us, can you even fathom what they can't tell us or won't tell us? See, that's when it got real. When she said this, she goes, imagine what they must know that they can't say. And I went, oh my God. If you can tell me we got something that makes people bleed out their face and poop and pee down their leg, if that's what you can tell us, I can't even imagine what you have that you can't tell us. So I lead with that because one of the things I want to do, let me make sure it's teed up. One of the things I want to do, many of you may have seen this, but if you haven't seen it, this is pretty much incredible. It's a short video and it details as much as possible what happened in that raid in Venezuela. Now, with what you just heard, and as you're about to see this, you have to wonder where it might have been deployed, if something got deployed, if the people were already on the ground with it. We don't know. Check this out.
How do you capture a high-value target when the whole world is watching? You create a masterclass in deception. The CIA set the stage with a single building as bait and filled the sky with 150 aircraft to create a deafening sonic shield for the helicopters to drop Delta forces.
See, now looking back, this was up a couple of days ago, a sonic shield, eh? That's what you're calling it? Sonic shield, okay.
Fives lit up the perimeter, turning night into day. By the time the dust settled, the helicopters had already touched down and Maduro was gone. We'll also look at how the U.S. uses the F-35 jets and its Navy to launch a large-scale attack, all in the video ahead. In the dead of night that is 2 in the morning, the lights went out in Caracas. By 5 a.m., the president of Venezuela was gone. But how U.S. played at deception games. While the whole world were focused on the aircraft carriers in the Caribbean, a shadow war was being fought on the ground. This wasn't an invasion, it was a surgical extraction. We finally have the declassified timeline of how U.S. forces breached the heart of Caracas and extracted Nicolas Maduro. Let's start with step 1. The setup. This didn't happen overnight. For months, the U.S. had been tightening a naval quarantine around Venezuela. The U.S. Gerald R. Ford Carrier Strike Group and the U.S. Iwo Jima Amphibious Ready Group were parked off the coast. The pretext was clear. The U.S. designated the Venezuelan government a narco-terrorist state, specifically targeting the drugs lords, but while the Navy squeezed the coast, intelligence assets were tracking one man. They waited for a specific window, a moment where Maduro was stationary and vulnerable. Step 2, the strike. It began at exactly 2 in the morning Venezuelan Standard Time. High above, several F-35 stealth fighters punch a hole through the enemy lines, destabilizing their anti-air defenses. Like these Russian S-300 missiles located all over the strategic high-value target. With the skies clear, the path opens for Delta Force helicopters to fly straight towards the mission. Here comes the deception as the helicopters flew. The jets started firing with more strikes as it hit Fort Tuna, the main military base and command center, and La Carlota Air Base, destabilizing Venezuelan air support. Reports from the ground describe widespread explosions and a sudden communications blackout.
All right, see, now that got me. A sudden communications blackout. But then the lights came back on. So for an instant, however long they needed it, everything went dark. And I'm sure there's people down there who are on their cell phones and everything just went poof, out. How do you do that? Now, I've heard some of the stories, but then how do you turn it back on?
Chaos wasn't the goal, it was the cover. But how did the raid happen? We have to look at step 3. Under the cover of darkness and chaos, the Tier 1 operators went to work. But what is the exact unit tasked with the mission? It is the Delta Force, one of the most elite secretive special forces units in the U.S. military. Witnesses in Caracas reported low-flying aircraft skimming the rooftops, flying well below radar coverage. The team breached a secure compound believed to be a safe house within the massive Fort Tuna complex. Resistance from the Venezuelan Presidential Guard was swift but ultimately futile, as the helicopters lay cover fire. The operators moved with surgical speed, landing on multiple points.
All right, so this is where I'm thinking. When the guy says it was like they were shooting 300 rounds per minute, if it's pitch black, maybe you don't know where those bullets are coming from. Maybe the helicopters were just lighting it up. Because at that point, if I'm hearing all these things happening, I'm not looking to see where they're coming from. I just hear the barrage of bullets and it just doesn't end. There's no relief. I'm stuck. Pop, 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 pop. And it could be coming from above. It could be coming on the ground. All you know is you can hear them whizzing by your head or hitting your buddies. You're not like you're looking, who's firing all these guns?
How exactly the capture and extraction happened? For this, let's look at step 4. Specialized helicopters hovered over the objective to insert the assault team. While dozens of attack helicopters laid down suppression fire, the Delta Special Forces descended and started the search for the high-value targets. How did they find him? Simple. The CIA had planted spy inside Nicolas Maduro close circle. While back in the U.S., Delta Force built an exact replica of his safe house, rehearsing the raid until they could do it blindfolded.
All right. Now that part there, I went, oh, I don't know the guy who made this or where he got the information, but it has been confirmed that they did build a replica. So this took, just imagine, you had to build you had to get the plans, you had to see what this thing looked like, you got drone, whatever you got, and you say, let's go ahead and build a replica. So that when the guys drop down, we know where to go in this structure. So somewhere in some secret location, they build a replica of where Maduro is. How long would that have taken? How long do you think this has been going on in terms of them planning it? And we got people on our side going, oh, nothing's happening. Nobody's getting arrested. I didn't vote for this. You have no idea. See, one of the problems I think we're having on the right is people like to have instant popcorn. They have microwaves. They don't realize what Trump is systematically doing to the world. I mean, think about it. USAID, this thing, that thing, Department of Education, PBR, PBS, Minnesota money, building replica mansions in a desert someplace, taking out Maduro, telling tonight we're going to, I forget that first Iranian bomb. I'm like, wait a second, what do you mean nothing's going on? The problem is you don't know. I don't mean you personally. The problem is they expect that, Trump's got to explain it to them. Midterms are lost because, I expected I don't give a shit what you expected. I didn't vote for you. I voted for the guy who had the plan. You don't. You're a podcaster. You're somebody sitting back complaining because things haven't happened the way you wanted. Well, maybe you should have run for office. And then when people say, I didn't vote for this, I voted for that, well, you didn't read what he said he was going to do. And I didn't know they were going to be building what amounts to being a complete replica of the Venezuelan mansion.
While operators breached the room so fast, his security could not even react to the situation as the sound of flash grenades disoriented the security guard. See,
that's where this guy, he didn't know either. That is specifically what the guy in the article was talking about. He thinks it's flash bombs. The flash bombs disoriented the guys. No, it wasn't flash bombs. We don't know what the hell it was, but that's the part that has the hole in it that you can't figure out. So as they entered, they used flash bombs to disorient people. It wasn't flash bombs. The other guy just said I was bleeding out of my nose, pooping out of my legs, and all kinds of crazy stuff. And we assumed it was just flash bombs. You've seen them on television. Stay clear. And it disorients you. Well, you're still functionable. You still can grab your weapon. You can still do stuff if there's a flash bomb. You've seen it on television. These weren't flash bombs. I don't know what they were, but it rendered them completely either dead or incapacitated.
Torch, they caught him before he could even lock all the doors. Maduro's shock and awe froze him as Delta Force breached the compound. Nicolas Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores, were physically secured. This wasn't a negotiation. They were detained and immediately moved to the extraction point. These aircraft are capable of performing urban extractions from buildings and refueling in midair. Within minutes, they were airborne, leaving Venezuelan airspace and heading to a secure floating staging base in the Caribbean. This Operation Southern Spear has changed the geopolitical map of South America overnight. But wait before after the extractions, there were reports of F-35 jets also leading the tip of the spear for the attack. We'll look how the United States used F-35 jets instead of F-16s for operations in Venezuela, because this is a well-organized and militarized Venezuela has positioned advanced Russian S-300 missile systems, Chinese radar networks, integrated Russian air defenses, and Shahed drones along its borders.
That didn't work, did it? None of it worked. Not a single one of those defenses that they had worked, which I'm sure right after you got generals in Venezuela going, what happened? Well, we were pushing a button. We were telling it nothing would happen. They completely disabled everything. Our satellites didn't find it. Our things didn't go shooting off. We were basically Davy versus Goliath, but we didn't make it.
This creates a highly lethal and challenging environment that older S-16s would struggle to survive. As stated, around 150 aircrafts and a massive 8 U.S. destroyers were stationed there. It also has 3 amphibious aircraft carrier and surveillance plane to turn it into a massive command and control juggernaut capable of overcoming a modern military's air defenses. Signals a readiness to counter Venezuela's entire air defense network if necessary. But why Venezuela Air Force failed to intercept? As of 2025, Venezuela's fighter jet fleet consists mainly of approximately 21 Sukhoi Su-30 multirole fighters delivered by Russia between 2006 and 2008, which now form the backbone of their combat air power. Additionally, they maintain about 5 operational F-16 Fighting Falcons from an older batch, including 3 single-seat S-16As and 2 two-seat S-16Vs. These S-16s are aging and suffer from limited maintenance and part support due to U.S. sanctions, although they have been supplemented with Israeli upgrades. Venezuela acquired its F-16 jets from the United States through a foreign military sales agreement called Peace Delta in May 1982, during a period of good diplomatic and military relations. They were the first Latin American country to receive the S-16, with deliveries occurring between 1983 and 1985. The reason the U.S. does not use F-16s in current operations is because these jets lack the stealth capabilities necessary to evade the S-300 and other integrated defenses.
All right, so that's a big thing. So we wouldn't even use the jets we sold them. We sold them lemons. We're using F-35s that have stealth capability, so they couldn't see it. Nothing could happen until it was too late. This is where it really ties into that whole Western Hemisphere thing. When I started listening and looking into the Venezuela takedown, and if you look at a map and see where the Western Hemisphere is, it's pretty much Venezuela, maybe Brazil, but there's nobody here. Canada? Nah, they can't stop us. That's why that sub-domination thing I was saying, half a world domination. There's nobody over here that can stop what President Trump is trying to do. And so the cartels, they may be next. The cartels, they don't have that kind of firepower. They've got firepower underground. They've got all kinds of different, probably rocket launchers and things of that nature. They may even have some sub capability, but they don't have this. And I'm sure, I shouldn't say I'm sure, but I'm pretty sure we already have assets throughout Mexico. Do you know why I'm sure we probably already have assets throughout Mexico? Because the probably same reason I'm sure they have them here. With that border being porous and open, it works both ways. We were bringing in all these people, and some of them were going back, but in any event, anybody could have crossed that border over the last 4 years. How many of the people crossing the border going the other way were assets? Just waiting. I don't know. I don't think anybody knows. But I'm pretty sure we had people going the other way just as they had people coming here. So it's going to be interesting how Mexico responds, because I believe it's coming very quickly. And all of this has to do with cutting off the money supply for the deep state. The stuff you're seeing in Minnesota is a smokescreen. They need to have this. They need to rally their troops. So I don't know what the hell they're about to do.
The advanced S-300V or anti-2500 systems, supported by dense Chinese and Russian radar, can easily detect and target older aircraft at long ranges. Sending F-16s into such an environment would result in high attrition risks, as they are vulnerable to radar detection and missile engagement. Not to forget the Russian Buk air defense system that can take out an S-16 with ease. These are cheap R-15 or 24 Buk systems are already active and mobile all over the country. Additionally, F-16s are less effective in contested airspace saturated with drones, especially the Iranian Shahed drones used by Venezuela for reconnaissance and kamikaze strikes. The F-35, however, offers crucial advantages. Its stealth design enables it to fly undetected or with much lower risk, making it effective against advanced surface-to-air missiles and networked radar systems. Its sensor fusion, electronic warfare, and data link capabilities allow it to simultaneously suppress and target mobile and fixed air defense positions, adapting rapidly to counter Russian and Chinese radar configurations. While the aircrafts took out the anti-air defenses Venezuelan military as a whole, this allowed the CIA and special forces to advance towards its target. The overwhelming presence of advanced Russian, Chinese, Iranian, and indigenous air defense and drone systems on the Venezuelan border means that the stealth fighter jets, or the first wave of attack, provide both the survivability and strike capability required for such operations. But how do they rotate clockwise? Well, the distance from Puerto Rico to Venezuela is about 1,300 kilometers. This is roughly 810 miles, which translates to around 1.5 hours of flight time for an F-35 flying at high subsonic speeds. These jets rotated clockwise as its combat radius is approximately 770 miles, meaning it can reach most of Venezuela from Puerto Rico with careful fuel management and limited loitering. To extend mission time and reach deeper inland, air-to-air refueling tankers deployed strategically in the Caribbean region support these operations.
Now, it's amazing because those numbers that he's saying are true for the most part in terms of how far the range and what they can do, but it doesn't take into account all the other stuff that goes along with it. And so we don't know what route they took. This is probably based upon AI as well. And as I bring up AI, I want you to begin understanding, as President Trump has kept saying, how big AI is for our defense, military, Star Wars, everything they're doing, the stuff. Who knows? I'm going to go otherworldly with you here. We could have created something via AI that made those defense things think there was a plane over here and make them shoot their load at nothing. We're not going to know that, but I'm not putting it past anybody at this point with what Elon can do and how they're doing things, that there could be like an AI image. There could be an AI simulation, something that gets those machines to do something else. We have reached a new era in warfare. And President Trump keeps saying the golden era. The golden era is here. He might not just be talking about money. He may be talking about weaponry. There's a reason why he came in and immediately wanted to make us the AI, basically, capital of the world. I'm not well versed enough to know what you can program AI to do from a defense and offense capability. But I am intelligent enough to know and understanding is that in the right person's hands, who knows how they're programming something, you could probably do it because the AI will tell you what you need. I'm going to be flying over Venezuela. They've got these defense things. What do I need to do? Blah, 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 to take them down. Here you go. You think I'm kidding? Try some different prompts. See, one of the prompts I always use when I use AI, I'll ask it a couple questions. Hey, can I eat this vegetable? Does this vegetable found in the wild? How do I find it? How do I go looking for it? Not that I'm making something up here. And then it tells me. And then I say to it as the last question, I showed Ashley this. Now say, can you write me the prompt that you need to provide all this information on an ongoing basis? Yeah. Execute. I'm like, wow. And so now if I need to do something, I don't have to ask the questions over again. I just take that prompt that it gave me, and there's a couple different things I change, and I plug it in there and hit stop, and all right, thank you. And that's it. So if I can do it with what I do, and I've shown Ashley recently what she can do with it, I can't even imagine a programmer that's in this level up here, who understands defense capabilities, who understands what's in these planes, who understands what the defense in that other country has, what their brains of their computers are capable of. You see where this could go? This entire thing could be generated by AI. And I challenge anybody to tell me no. All this is computerized. Whether F-35, F-16, the stealth bomber, the boats, it's all computerized. So if you know what to write to get into the brain trust of that potential country's computer system, you might be able to make it do anything. Those things in Venezuela might have been swinging around like this while the drill was going on and the guys are trying to fix it, because you had drones, what were the drones doing? So if you had F-35s coming through and you had the other thing happening here, what were the drones doing? That wasn't explained in the article, and obviously it's not in this video. It's like, what did they do with all them damn drones? That cross your mind? Here's another thing. Do you remember back around July, I'll say, when everything in New Jersey, people were like, there's all these freaking drones all over the place. And then one of the congressmen said, I saw them come out of the water. I saw them come out the water and meet with the mothership and then fly around and then go back. Do you remember that? Think back. And then it just stopped. It went on for like a week or so, maybe 10 days, and people were freaked out. There were like hundreds of drones in the air. Where'd they come from? Where are they going? What are they doing? Have we been practicing this for quite some time? Remember when Trump got into office, he's like, hey, don't worry about it. Everyone's like, what's going on with these drones? It's good. We're good. And I remember when it was. It was actually probably November, because that weekend after the election, President Trump went to the Army-Navy game. And at the Army-Navy game, I was worried. People in the chat were worried. Hey, listen, we don't know what these drones are. How do we know if these drones aren't going to just come over and come into the football game? It's right there in Maryland. But then nothing. A whole bunch of drone activity. Congressmen going crazy saying, I saw it come out of the water, and then nothing. So how do we know what those drones were doing?
In situations requiring strikes within minutes, U.S. amphibious assault ships equipped with F-35Bs can launch jets rapidly. From such ships positioned in the Caribbean, F-35Bs can reach Venezuelan targets within roughly 15 to 10 minutes, depending on speed and route. Targets typically include narco-traffickers' networks, air defense installations, command centers, and drone facilities, enabling flexible sea-based strike options against both Venezuelan military and criminal infrastructure. In essence, the F-35 deployment by the U.S. near Venezuela redefines military capabilities in the region. It combines stealth, advanced sensors, electronic warfare, and networked operations to overcome sophisticated air defenses and maintain persistent air superiority and rapid strikeability against a broad spectrum of targets in Venezuela. This reflects a strategy that goes beyond counter-narcotics to deter and, if necessary, decisively counter the Venezuelan military threat. We also made a deep dive into the sea, air, and land components of the nuclear triad, so subscribe for more videos to not miss a beat.
Notice he didn't say much about what the drones did and where did they come from. Why would you have 100 drones if they weren't doing something? So that's crazy. Absolutely crazy. I don't know what exactly happened, but now we're seeing this article that or this Twitter post that was put up, and it's otherworldly. I think you have to, I'm not going to be conspiratorial. I'm just saying something happened. We have no idea, but we do know they did build a replica of the, what do you call it, the mansion and everything. So we definitely know that did happen. Pretty crazy, isn't it? And now let's talk about what's happening. Wait, what do I have here? Oh, all right. So I want to talk to you about something that happened today, and I want you to look at this. This is Mario Nawfal. He's a big guy on X. Good follow. He says, the Pentagon Pizza Index is spiking again. Iran, your window just closed. Extreme Pizza and other shops near the Pentagon are seeing above average traffic. If you know, you know. The Pentagon Pizza Index hit 1250 on January 2nd. By January 3rd, we'd struck Venezuela and grabbed Maduro. It spiked in June before Israel bombed Iran. So what are these pizza things? So what they're alluding to is that the think tank, the guys who are running these attacks, order pizza because they're going to be, in some sort of skiff or some sort of lab or wherever they are, and they're going to be tied up, and you can't, probably peeing in buckets and that kind of stuff. So they order a bunch of pizza, and people started noticing that there was a spike in pizza orders, which, by the way, could lead you to that other 17th letter thing, but we're not going to go there tonight, right? We're not going to talk about the pizza stuff, that pizza. So Trump told Iran 3 days ago, you better not start shooting because we'll start shooting too. Iran killed 65 people since then, including 14 of their own security forces. They're running a 3-day internet blackout while importing Iraqi militias. Here's how this works. When the Pentagon war planning cells pull all-nighters, they order pizza. Something any of us would do. We all went to college and hey, you guys want to get some pizza or Chinese? I was always the guy who wanted to order Chinese, but sometimes people would buy pizzas. When the Pentagon's war planning cells pull all nighters, they order pizza. Google Maps tracks foot traffic at nearby restaurants in real time. Civilian OSINT intelligence nerds monitor it like a hawk. Can you believe there are actually people who monitor pizza activity from the Pentagon? There are actually guys who are that deep into this that monitor pizza activity into the Pentagon. The DOW, Department of War, denies it matters, said they have internal cafeterias. Sure. And professional poker players don't have tells either. Iran's already in the terminal phase. Economy collapsed, the military gutted by Israel's June war, importing foreign fighters to shoot their own people. The pizza spike suggests someone's finalizing exactly how the next 48 hours will go. And this was posted, when did he post this? This was posted right after President Trump, 2/14. Iran is looking at freedom, perhaps like never before. The USA stands ready to help President Donald J. Trump. I love these memes about Marco. And then there's another comment here from Doge AI. Excuse me. The Pentagon Pizza Index is a meme, not a mission-critical metric. Real strategic shifts like Iran's economy and freefall, proxy militias collapsing, and their nuclear program reduced to rubble speak louder than late-night pepperoni orders. When a regime imports foreign fighters to suppress its own people while facing nationwide blackouts, it's not pizza traffic that seals their fate. It's irreversible strategic decay. Deterrence isn't ordered through dominoes. It's built on overwhelming force and the demonstrated will to use it. The will to use it. Iraq's window didn't close because a pizzeria got busy. It shattered when their leadership bet against American resolve and lost. I'm going to have to go ahead and say, man, that could be. But then if that's the case, tell me why the White House put this out.
Eat real food.
The White House put that out. The White House, eat real food. And like they tried to tie it into the Maha thing with the new food pyramid, but the F-35s were blowing up pizza and hot dogs. The White House put that out.
It's like in chess. First, you strategically position your pieces. Then when the timing's right, you strike. Using this one signal to synchronize their efforts in approximately 6 hours. The signal's going to disappear and the countdown's going to be over. And then what? Checkmate. Oh my God. Oh my God.
That is from the movie Independence Day, and that pretty much tells you, like, how I was thinking today when I saw that, because it's crazy what's going on, absolutely crazy. So let me take you to a couple posts today that show both the world is getting hot. This came out today in travel.gov or travel.gov. The security situation in Venezuela remains fluid as international flights have resumed. U.S. citizens in Venezuela should leave the country immediately. Before departure, U.S. citizens should take precautions and be aware of their surroundings. There are reports of groups of armed militias known as colectivos setting up roadblocks and searching vehicles for evidence of U.S. citizenship or support for the United States. So you got armed banditos running around trying to find Americans, which doesn't bode well. Because if for some reason you go ahead and find an American and want to do something bad, you're going to get vaporized. So watch for that in the next couple of days. Watch for them if they say they've taken some Americans hostage. I wouldn't want to be effing around with Trump. He's not sending a negotiator. He's going to send people to take your head off. This man is not playing whatsoever. Don't be stupid. This isn't Biden. This isn't Obama. We're not trying to get to a table. You mess with America, you can count. He's going to vaporize you and some of your friends, which I think that's what the Democrats are terrified of. He's beyond control. And I think we're looking at more than the Insurrection Act, if you can imagine that. Lindsey Graham, of all people, he posted this: to the Iranian people, your long nightmare is soon coming to a close. Your bravery and determination to end your oppression has been noticed by President Trump and all who love freedom. Well, yeah, I guess that would mean conservative people. Democrats don't care. When President Trump says make Iran great again, it means the protesters in Iran must prevail over the Ayatollah Assahoullah. That is the clearest signal yet. Signal. You got to focus on these words. On my signal, President Trump said, or he posted, unleash hell. And I found it odd. That's why this is the clearest signal yet that President Trump, understands Iran will never be great without the Ayatollah and his henchmen in charge. To all who are sacrificing in Iran, God bless, help is on the way. The signal's been given. This came out at 3 o'clock this afternoon. They've already bombed Syria. The signal has been given. And there's probably going to be even more stuff coming. I want to go to this one. And this is what's happening in Iran. And you know the Ayatollah and these people are just freaking out about it. Young women are taking off that hijab, using his picture to light cigarettes as they are in basically Western garb at this point. Very, very interesting, all the stuff that's happening over there. And I wanted to read this. This is by a guy named Kirk Lubimoff. He's an entrepreneur, capitalist. Persians. Persian is what Iranians were. Until 1935, Iran was called Persia. It's not until they started all this stuff with the Islamists, that they then changed and started becoming more hardliners. Not a single protest. And this is what I'm thinking with what's going on in Minnesota. We're talking about large-scale world events. We're talking huge world events. Venezuela with Maduro. Iran about to fall. Their entire government is about to fall. And the media is fixated on what's going on in Minnesota. As this guy wrote, there has not been a single protest here to support the Iranians. In fact, I checked before I went on. I went and did a Google search, and I searched each network, ABC, CBS, NBC, MS Now, or whatever it's called, to see if they're even mentioning Iran. What happened with all that solidarity? What happened with everybody waving the flag and holding up everything? What happened with that solidarity? Now that the people are about to overturn that Islamic craziness over there, they don't even want to bring it up. Nothing from the colleges. Nope, not a single rally on any campus. College just got back after the Christmas break. Nothing. No rallies. Nothing. No mentions from the media, as I just said. You wouldn't even know that these brave people are doing without social media and X. Propaganda is curated and funded. Why are they blacking it out? You got millions of people, not a couple of thousand in Minnesota. The entire freaking country is about to be completely changed, and not a word. Not a word from any of our Democrat politicians. Nothing. Nothing. Go look. The only thing that happened today on Q, not this Q, but on Q, was all of a sudden all the Democrats were talking about, anti-Hamas stuff. And everybody's like, wait a minute. For the last couple of years, you've been nothing but pro-Hamas. How all of a sudden did every single one of you start promoting anti-Hamas stuff? What the hell's going on? They know it's going to fall. They will have nowhere to go if American politicians are supporting Iran. Sort of like what are they going to do with the credit cards? Elizabeth Warren has done nothing but try to stop credit cards from charging, and President Trump says, "Hey, we're going to drop it to 10%." What are you going to do? Tell people you should have to pay 25%. Their entire ideology is being flipped on its head, and they're talking about Minnesota. That's it. There's nothing. They have nothing. And so tonight, after you get off here and you watch the world, basically stay on fire, you understand that America under President Trump is working for freedom for people, and the Democrats are working to keep people out of freedom. It says here, this was from Fox News, Iran is looking at freedom perhaps like never before. The USA stands ready to help, and that was his actual post that he put out there. So it's apparent at this point that the vision that President Trump had going into office is much bigger than any of us ever imagined at the time. The Democrats couldn't even comprehend what he was going to do. They thought once they got rid of, or they thought they got rid of Elon Musk, that Doge had gone away. Well, Tim Burchett today was named the leader of Doge, and he's a hawk. Everything the Democrats are doing is falling to crap. And all they've got, and I'm looking at Fox right now on my monitor, it's just Minnesota, Minnesota, Minnesota. And I'm thinking to myself, are you doing this on purpose? Are you actually doing this on purpose because you don't want to see what's about to happen? I actually believe that is the case. I believe that they are now at this point trying to diminish everything so people don't look. Now, I want to show you, and segue into the next thing I want to show you because there's just so much. I mean, when I said I had a whole bunch, I had a whole bunch. So I'm not going to try to keep you here so much on a Saturday night. But I wanted to, let me get this in order here because there's so much that I wanted to show. All right, so let's change gears right now. One of the things that I've been looking at, and I keep saying about Trump winning, and I try to impart upon you guys, don't listen to the panicans, the rhinos, and everybody else, because Trump is indeed winning.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning, and you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
And I put that up because he posted, or rather the White House posted, a recap. It's been a busy week of winning. And so I want to take a couple of minutes. Let's go through this busy week of winning because they were quite detailed in terms of the wins. The first win I want to show you, which is obviously Venezuela. At President Trump's direction, the United States conducted Operation Absolute Resolve in Venezuela, capturing illegitimate dictator Nicolas Maduro. Venezuela agreed to release large numbers of political prisoners, which they did, wrongfully imprisoned by the Maduro regime. The successful capture of dictator Nicolas Maduro was celebrated by Venezuelans across the globe. Venezuela agreed to turn over 30 to 50 million barrels of sanctioned oil to the United States. Venezuela agreed to only, this is to me bigger than the oil. Venezuela agreed to only purchase American-made products with the proceeds from the new U.S.-Venezuela oil deal. Now, there's a whole bunch of stuff here, and I'm looking at the clock here. I direct you to the White House feed, because on the White House feed, they go through every one of these things. They go through the economy. They go through executive action, which there was a new one. They go through events that they put, delivery marks to the House Republicans, and more wins, Maha. There's all kinds of things here that nobody is promoting. People aren't pushing this stuff out. You should be pushing this stuff out. It's absolutely amazing what we're seeing. And unless you put it out there, nobody else is going to. I urge you to go out there and begin posting some of this stuff so people know what the hell is going on. Let me show you this too. On White House .gov. I want to show you this proclamation because it's another thing that got put out. And I keep saying to you guys, go to the White House website and make sure you're watching all these different things as he's posting them. Let me see if I can bring this up real quick. Where's this proclamation? I want to show you this real quick here. Hold on, give me a second. I didn't have it up because I wasn't sure. Hold on. This one. This is absolutely monstrous. And nobody really talked about it. I want to show this to you guys. Again, if you're not following the White House page, some of this stuff never gets talked about in the media. Withdrawing the United States from international organizations that are contrary to the interest of the United States. This was posted on January 7th. Something huge is coming. And he goes through, and basically what they have done is pull this out of those 66 different organizations. Here, all these, hold on, let me move that. Organizations from which the United States shall withdraw. So all of these entities we are now withdrawn from. Now understand what withdrawal means. We have now withdrawn from the 24/7 Carbon-Free Compact. We have withdrawn from the Colombo Plan Council, Commission for Environment Corporation, Education Cannot Wait. We pulled out of all of these different initiatives, all of them. Go on here and you will see all the different initiatives that in one fell swoop, President Trump took us out of it. 66 of them. Why do you think that's important? Why do you think it's important that in one stroke of the pen, a real stroke of the pen, President Trump took us out of 66 different of these organizations? And that's exactly right, Gary. You're exactly right. Gary's got it. None of the United States money is going to these 66, whatever they are. Slowly but surely, just cranking the spigot off, just turning it off. And then you can go on whitehouse.gov and I would venture to say that 90% or more of those organizations, you're like, what in the hell is it? It's nothing. It's a cash cow. It was just someplace that they were sending money, that we were part of some organization, and now it's off. He's no longer going to do it. So, part of what I'm showing you is the Democrats really have nothing. Nothing. I don't know what they're going to do. All of that money is now being quickly turned off in so many different places. That's why they're freaking out. And that's why they have nothing to talk about Minnesota. Can you imagine if this woman hadn't got shot? What the hell are you talking about? Oh, we don't want to see all the newcomers get deported. That's too effing bad. We're just going to keep doing it. In fact, you now understand that he is actually sending 1,000 more law enforcement. I don't know who they are, but they're 1,000 more people are hitting the ground in the next day or so. While he's supposedly down here playing golf. Yeah, right. The meeting. Oh, all right. So let me tell you about that real quick. The WEF meeting, Davos, that he's going to, I saw somebody put something and they eloquently stated it perfectly. He's not going to give a speech. He's not going to give him any money. And he's not going to negotiate. President Trump, in my mind, after I read this, I completely concur. President Trump is going to Davos to ask for demand their surrender. Now, everything you've seen thus far tonight, does that make sense to you? Why would he be going over to Davos and talking to these globalists? Well, I think he's going over there to tell them, party's over, surrender Dorothy or it's your ass. And every single one of them, other than the money that they've had or they've been taking from America, he may even say, I need you to give me a couple billion and you to give me a couple billion, and I definitely need you to give me 3 or 4 billion. These people at this point must know that he's finishing all family business. He's not going to Davos to negotiate some sort of treaty plan of America opening up the checkbook. Now, they have to know he's coming there to end it. And I believe he absolutely will. I believe that he's going to go there and tell them, I know it's been nice. You've been feeding off of Americans for a long time, but the Western Hemisphere is now mine. Imagine all these globalists who were dipping their beak, more than their beak, who were scooping up piles of cash and doing all these kind of illicit things in so many different countries in the Western Hemisphere, and President Trump going out there and going, you're done. I don't want to see you in your boats. Unless you contact me, if you put something out in that ocean, you're going to get blown up. Don't want to see anything. I want you to make sure you let me know anytime you plan on coming into the Western Hemisphere. And there ain't nothing they can do about it. That's the worst part about it. So surrender, Dorothy. It's over. You're not giving any more money. Hopefully you're going to give us money back. And every single one of you, I know who you are. I know what you've done. Don't let me have to send people to come extract you. I would almost count on that happening. They will probably go hide underground. Yeah, probably. They probably exactly. Somebody goes, exactly, Barry. No, we're not looking at this point. He's pulled out of all these organizations. He may go over and say, he said he wants to be friends with NATO, but these guys are different. These are the guys who've been trying to pull the strings in all these different countries. Now, no more. And I don't think you could basically sit across from him and try to bluff him. I don't think you can try to say, I can wait you out, because you don't know what's coming next. That's what the problem I have with all these damn rhinos and panicans and pollsters. We don't know what's tomorrow. That's one of the things I keep saying and putting in my pocket is, I can't tell you what's going to happen in November. So many people saying, oh, the midterms are lost. And I'm like, midterms? You don't even know what this country is going to be like in November. You don't know who's going to be able to. These people are buffoons. I would never, ever, ever think I could interject my thoughts into, I think, what he's going to do tomorrow. We just have to sit back and watch. And you saw the picture they put up, trust the plan. I know that's been a statement. People like, I've been waiting and waiting. No, if you've been sitting around waiting, maybe you should start reading up and understanding what you've seen thus far. Just think for a second. January 20th to 21st, he gets in the office, right? Right. And when he gets into the office, all the stuff that he's been doing, can you name it all? Because maybe you're not following it because you were stuck on Epstein stuff. Or maybe you were stuck on January 6th stuff. And you're not understanding, and I don't want to get anybody upset, but I've said it before, small potatoes. Very small potatoes compared to what you're seeing now. As you're seeing the entire globe be reset, you have to. If you've got any kind of mind, you have to say, yeah, that stuff's kind of small, isn't it? That doesn't change anything. I could arrest every single one of these people involved in the Unselect Committee. I could arrest every single one of them right now, and it doesn't matter. I could go after every single one of these people that we know were tied up with Epstein, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter until I make it sure that when I do go after them, they got nothing. They don't have any bolt holes. They don't have any money. They don't have any connections. I need to make sure I cut it all off. Then they're sitting ducks. Why would you go after these people who still maintain all of their networks, their money, their power, their ability to do things in other countries? Why would I go after them in January? I need to stop all this stuff. And now I need to make these people helpless. I need to make it so they can't start a war. I need to make it so they can't move cash back and forth. Are you watching? Are you watching what Scott Bessent said? Are you understanding that they're turning off the ability for people to wire money certain places? Did you see that he's trying to go after the credit card debt? And of course, the first thing people do online is he can't do it. He's got to get approval. It's not about getting it done. It's about telegraphing, I'm going to come after you every single day. I am going to make you spend millions on attorneys. You don't know whether the credit card debt thing was to merely get them to oppose it. Think about that. You're Elizabeth Warren, and you've been the champion of consumer protection, and President Trump goes, let me put this king right there. What does she do right now? How do you vote against it? How do you tell the American people, I don't want you paying less interest? Boom. Let me put that on the board. Fight it. Go ahead. Let me see what you're going to do at this point. Boom. Iran, the people are free. Fight it. Tell everyone in the world that you don't want these people to be free, that you'd rather have the Ayatollah running the country. Maduro, tell the American people and people around the world that you would rather have that dictator running Venezuela. And they have nowhere to go because they keep getting trapped in this stuff. They keep getting put in checkmate. And all they have now is they're talking about what? Oh, Obamacare. And, I know what I wanted to tell you before we got done. One of the things with the whole Obamacare stuff that's kind of weird, if you think about it, is some of the Republican senators went along with it and everything. And one of the problems with that is it doesn't matter. If it gets to his desk, he vetoes it. He vetoes it. They don't have enough to overturn the veto. It's dead. It's a waste of time. It's merely a propaganda tool that they can say President Trump turned down Obamacare. Okay, whatever. I noticed that the stream reset. I can't understand why it keeps doing that stuff. That's crazy, crazy, crazy. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Yeah, taking millions to the airport. TSA has been letting it happen for years. Exactly. All right, so I'm not sure why the stream does that. I apologize, but I don't know if it's because I'm home and Robin's watching television at the same time, but I apologize. All right, so before we go, I want to talk to you about, see if I have time for, I might have to go live so I can talk about this tomorrow. I want to talk to you real quick about what's going on in California. I'll talk about this to close, and then I've got, let's see, what should I do the interview? You guys up for an interview? Let me show this interview. I'll talk about California tomorrow. I want to show you the interview I had yesterday with DHS about what's going on in Minnesota. And I think he'd give you an interesting perspective. Let's go ahead and roll that. Okay. Everybody, I have a timely interview for you today. I've got Harry Phones, who's the DHS Deputy Assistant Secretary for Public Affairs. Harry, how you doing today? It's probably not been a busy last couple of days for you, has it?
No, it's been a very busy couple days at the Department of Homeland Security, and our officers are out there this whole week. It's obviously been eventful for them, but we are every day enforcing the laws of this nation.
So I have a couple of videos I want to get your opinion on, but before we get to those videos, there's another video that just literally dropped like within the last hour. I can't show it because YouTube wouldn't like me to show it to you because they have their censorship things. But now we have the actual body cam video from the officer. What can you say to that? I mean, how long have you guys known that this was there? Did the Democrats just rush to judgment, not knowing that this guy actually had a body cam, or do they just not care?
Well, I think with all these rapidly evolving situations, you do usually see footage coming out afterwards. I obviously viewed the footage right before coming on today, and it shows an angle that really backs up the officer's story. And I think that that's really important. And we've said this whole time is we had officers there. They interacted with this woman in the car. The car clearly is going for the officer. The officer, anybody in that situation, especially from that angle, how could you not fear for your life? You know, he acted according to his training and possibly saved the lives of other officers. I think one of the really big parts that stood out, and you can hear it, and we saw this with the videos that came out earlier this week, is, you know, our officers are giving lawful commands. They ask the woman to get out of the car. And we've seen this time and time again in too many cities and a lot of these incidences where these aren't peaceful protesters that are listening to lawfully given commands. And this is another tragedy because of that.
They're almost being encouraged not to listen. I've been seeing some of the stuff on X and seeing some of the people out there, and they're actually saying, you know, refuse, don't comply. They're putting people in danger, which I would almost have to say is close to inciting violence. Is that something that you guys are seeing?
Well, we're obviously seeing it a lot. And I think, you know, we can rewind this back to when we were all kids, right? If a police officer is giving you a command, you listen to them. This is how it should be treated. This is what we should be doing. You know, this just goes against a lot of the principles that most people would have. And I think that it's really terrible that people are saying, don't respect law enforcement. And furthermore, especially in a situation like this, that you're not going to listen to them when they're giving these commands. That makes everybody's life in danger. You know, the protesters, the officers, and anybody else who could be in that public space.
If you can say, and if you can't, I understand, but was this woman, and then the New York Post did a story on the group she was involved in, was this woman in that vehicle specifically known to ICE before this incident happened?
I know that they had some information about her. I can't go too deep into it, but this is, again, it's another one of these singular events that shows the wider range of what's happening, that these groups, when you're tracking our officers, the doxing threats they're seeing, you know, ICE officers are facing an 8,000% increase in death threats. They're facing a 1,300% increase in assaults. This type of rhetoric and what these groups are encouraging is dangerous.
And obviously it's dangerous. Any information that you can relay as to why was the wife or partner outside the car? Was it specifically, obviously that lends its credence to the fact that it was premeditated. She wanted to do that because she got out the car to actually make a video about it. Is that woman being arrested or being looked at?
I don't have any further information on that at this time. Obviously, this is still an evolving situation. As you just said, new footage is coming out. You know, we're looking at this as a totality of an event, though. And I don't want to get ahead of any investigations.
Yeah, I understand. And I also saw a couple of videos today. Thank God Elon Musk bought Twitter. We would never see this stuff. Whereas there's almost copycats going on. They're instead of learning from what she, you know, encountered, they're leering, taking from the Learing Center. They're actually trying to copy and do the same thing. How tough is that for the officers, and whether it be, you know, ICE or I guess it would just be ICE, wouldn't be Border Patrol, to have to encounter people intentionally trying to get themselves put in the way?
Well, we actually do have Border Patrol agents are in Minneapolis right now. And I know that some of the videos I've seen on X is about them. Chief Bovino is out there. He was obviously with the secretary at her press conference. But the officers are facing this now. They face this in other cities they're in. This is extremely dangerous practice, you know, following law enforcement vehicles, especially as they're trying to carry out operations. You're seeing people trying to block operations. Again, kind of drawing back to where we started this conversation is most kids would be able to say, should you be blocking law enforcement vehicles as they're carrying out their operations? The answer is no. This is really basic stuff that you shouldn't be interfering with them. And it is really hard for officers, right? Arresting dangerous criminals especially illegal alien criminals, and you guys have seen the worst of the worst we're putting out there, is a dangerous business. So now not only are they contending with that, they're contending with people trying to obstruct them from doing their job.
You know, when I saw these ICE officers, as the lady's her own video, a lot of them weren't even masked, but it seems as though the Democrats have latched on to this whole thing that they were masked and that they want to dox them. How are these guys dealing with it after the fact? I understand that the guy who was involved in the incident has now been doxed and his personal information is out there.
Well, you know, again, we've brought this up. 8,000% increase in death threats. How does that weigh on somebody's head? We've seen it even with this individual from the incident on Wednesday. We've seen this with other officers. We've seen this in a lot of cities of people publishing the information. You know, there's plenty of websites, there's plenty of lists. They're trying to list out the officers. You know, when I talk to them, it definitely weighs heavy on them. And again, just imagine yourself in that situation. You wake up, you've got a family, you're doing what's right, which is enforcing the laws of this country. Meanwhile, people are trying to publish your information in the hopes that somebody is going to hurt you and attack you.
It's insane. What's the morale like of the guys and women of CBP, not CBP, but of ICE? Is it motivating or is it deflating?
The morale is actually really high. These guys are waking up. They're doing the job that they signed up for. It's been a big thing under Secretary Noem, and this is one of the things that I hear all the time, is they signed up to do a job. They weren't able to do it in the last administration. They are doing it with this administration. They have the support of the president. Everybody saw Vice President out there yesterday talking about his support. They have the support of the secretary. This whole administration is standing behind our law enforcement, and that is night and day compared to last time. When I talk to individuals, they know that they are on a mission and they are cleaning up the mess that happened under the last 4 years, and they are happy knowing that they're getting these worst of the worst individuals off the streets and making American communities safer.
Yeah, absolutely. So I got a couple clips I'd like you to comment on. Let me play the first one for you.
Our ask is to include the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension in this process because we in Minneapolis want a fair investigation. Is it deeply concerning that this administration from the very get-go is drawing the conclusion that they may ultimately come to? Of course it is. And if you got nothing to hide from, then don't hide from it. Include local experts in the process. We got nothing to hide from here. All we want in Minneapolis is justice and the truth. And speaking of the truth, let me give you another one.
It's basically sickening to me and other people looking from a 30,000-foot view, and I'm sure it must disgust you, when they say things like we have to continue the fight, we got to keep fighting, we want the truth, what are you afraid of? Things of that nature. Why would they even have any sort of, I don't know, resistance besides being complete nuts to get out there and imply as though you guys are going to hide what the facts of the incident were? In fact, especially after seeing the body cam, what's there to hide?
There is none. There's going to be an investigation. Again, I'm not going to get ahead of it, but this just goes to show where the mindset is of these sanctuary jurisdiction politicians. Their first thing, exactly as you said, is attack and blame. Unfortunately, this just is another part of their rhetoric of they're trying to say anything that comes out of this could be invalid. I trust our investigators. I trust our officers who are going to be going through this. But you don't need to demonize them on the way and try to pre-pass judgments. That is the whole purpose of an investigation. Absolutely.
And when I earlier said about some of this stuff is spreading, then of course we know something happened in Portland. And as that happened in Portland, they seem to be following the same exact script.
And now tensions are flaring even higher in Portland, Oregon, after a Border Patrol agent shot a married couple there. At least 6 people were arrested yesterday and overnight during protests in Portland. And according to DHS now, the border agents there were conducting a quote-unquote targeted vehicle stop of this married couple. They accused the couple of both being connected to the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua. and claim that during the stop, the driver tried to run over the agents, and that is why one of them fired a, quote, defensive shot. No agents were injured in this. The married couple, they were both shot, one in the arm, one in the chest. Both are in the hospital, and local leaders now are demanding that ICE and other federal agents leave the city.
I saw you guys posted on X after CNN posted that and said complete lies. What part of that was she lying? Because that story happened late last night, and they've jumped on it right now to try and foster doubt with everybody.
So first off, they aren't a married couple. And what we have here, and you kind of saw this, it was interesting to see those first knee-jerk reactions. These are two TDA associate members. That's a terrorist organization that you can look at all the crimes they've done. These are not good people.
Right.
They were targeting the passenger of the vehicle, who they did identify, who has helped run a prostitution ring for TDA. The driver, also a member, an associate of TDA. Like, these are not innocent people. These are bad folks. And the fact that the initial knee-jerk reaction is that DHS did something wrong is preposterous. So our officers successfully identified their targets. They went in to make an arrest. What are they met with? A vehicle coming at them. Again, trust the officer in their training. They fired a defensive shot. I believe those individuals are in the hospital right now. Don't have all the details on it, but our officers were trying to do, these are the exact type of people that we do not want in American communities. Nobody wants somebody running a prostitution ring in your community. You would think that, and I've said this to a lot of folks before, the fact that they are an illegal immigrant, people try to cover for their crimes that they are doing. If you talk to any normal person and said, should law enforcement be arresting gang members, and especially people who are doing prostitution, your answer would be yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And so CNN is basically dovetailing off of the people in Portland last night who immediately decided they're going to come out and blame the Trump administration.
We are standing here today united as a state, wanting peace and safety in our communities. We are all shaken and outraged by another terrible, unnecessary, violent event instigated by the reckless agenda of the Trump administration. This time in our own state, in our largest city, coming just one day after the tragedy in Minnesota. While the details of the incident remain limited, one thing is very clear. When a president endorses tearing families apart and attempts to govern through fear and hate rather than shared values, you foster an environment of lawlessness and recklessness. Trust is essential to maintaining community safety and the rule of law. Federal agents at the direction of the Department of Homeland Security are shattering trust. They are hurting people, and they are destroying day by day what we hold dear, our sense of safety. And our literal safety are severely undermined by what happened this afternoon in Portland. I'm so thankful that no one died and more people weren't hurt.
So are you endangering people? Which I already know the answer. I was being rhetorical. Everything seems to be pointed at what the officers are doing, not about the subjects who are a matter of the investigation or the targeting. Why is it that they're using this type of language to inflame the public by saying you're being reckless, you're endangering people? Because when I talk to people, I ask, if you see someone armed walking on down the street, do you feel, fearful? No, it's just the opposite. What exactly is the objective for ICE when they go into these neighborhoods, and why don't these politicians expect people to protect themselves?
Well, I think a big part of this that's missing is they have instituted sanctuary policies, which means that they do not want to work with federal law enforcement, right? We are deploying officers to areas where we know that there are criminal, illegal aliens to go and enforce the laws of our nation. These illegal aliens have fled to areas like Portland, like Minneapolis, because they knew the local jurisdiction was not going to do anything about it. We are cleaning up a mess that they made. We would love it and we do this across a lot of parts of the country, where we work with local law enforcement so that we don't have officers out there having to make the arrests there. A local police department makes an arrest, they let us know, we take care of the rest of the process. We have a great program called the 287G. The sanctuary policy, they have consequences, and that's this, which is that we have to have the men and women of, especially in Portland right now, it is ICE and CBP, have to go out into the streets in order to arrest criminals. Again, every day we are getting murderers, pedophiles, rapists, drug dealers off the streets. They are doing the Lord's work in getting these folks out, and it is because these politicians didn't actually enforce the laws of the nation in the first place.
Why? I know you're not a politician. I'm not sure if you're a lawyer or not. But why would these people want these criminals in their neighborhoods? What is the motivation other than probably votes? What's the motivation for keeping the rest of the population? Those are the ones that people should fear, not the law enforcement officers. Have you had any research as to why they want these people in their communities?
No, and I can't speak to that, but what I can say is that's the mess we're trying to pick up. Whatever their reasoning is for, it's putting Americans at risk, and we're fixing that now.
Now, I've got, I think it's one or two more clips, and it's going to speak to the other cities where there hasn't been any really public incidences yet, where they're warning you not to come into their cities.
If any law enforcement agent, any ICE agent, is going to come to Philly to commit crimes, then you can get the F out of here. Because if you do that here, I will charge you with those crimes. You will be arrested. You will stand trial. You will be convicted, whether it's in state or federal court. It's my office prosecuting it. That's how the law works. And you will do your time, because Donald Trump cannot pardon you for a state court conviction. Do you hear me, ICE agents? Do you hear me, National Guard? Do you hear me, military? You're going to jail if you commit crimes in the city of Philadelphia. You will be accountable. The law applies to all of you. And I know that there are honest, decent, moral law enforcement officers out there by the bushel, including in ICE. This is not for you. This is for any one of your colleagues who thinks they are above the law.
Number one, can he do that? Can he arrest ICE agents for doing their jobs?
You know, there could be a case where they might attempt that, but we are enforcing federal law. Let's make this really simple. A jurisdiction cannot nullify federal law. We're enforcing the immigration laws of our country. Our officers are going to continue to do this job. I think the most striking part of that, listening to that clip, is this is the type of rhetoric we're warning everybody about. It's having this type of rhetoric is what encourages people to commit violence against our officers, to make the threats. This is continuation of the demonization of it, and that's just wrong. Our officers are, again, cleaning up and having to go into these cities that haven't done it themselves. And we will continue to enforce the law. We've made it very clear we are going after every single criminal, illegal alien we can, and our mission is not done until they are all out of this country.
Have you guys come up with an edict or some sort of declaration? Should people like this guy from Philadelphia, I believe his name is Krasner, or any other DA, local DA, who decides they're going to tell their guys to go out and arrest ICE?
I haven't seen anything like that. You know, it's definitely something I want to keep looking into, would want to keep you updated on it. But we've made it very clear. And again, I said this earlier, from the president on down, this entire administration, we are supporting our officers as they do their mission, the job they signed up for, which is to enforce the laws of this country and to make American communities safe. That is our number one job. And we are not slowing down on it. We are continuing to do it. We have a mission to do, and we're going to get it done.
Last question for you. Messaging from the top. Is this going to deter anybody in ICE, anybody in the hierarchy of ICE, DHS from doing their job?
No. And you've seen it this week. The secretary said this on Wednesday night. We continued doing operations on Thursday in Minneapolis. We're doing operations across the country as we speak right now. There are operations going on. We're having success. I really encourage everybody to look. We publish almost every day a worst of the worst people that we are getting out of this country. We have a website, wow.dhs.gov, where you can actually look at your state and see who we have pulled out under this administration from American communities. And I'll tell you, when you look through it, you will say, thank you to the officers who got this murderer, this pedophile out of my state.
Right. Wow. And what was that website again? WOW? Wow?
WOW. Wow.dhs.gov. Worst of the worst. That's what we're targeting. We've had a lot of success with it.
All right, we'll definitely take a look at it. Thank you for your time today. And even though you're in the administrative side of things, please stay safe, because who knows what these nuts will try to do. And it's got to be very tough on everybody in DHS right now. So I salute you. I salute your entire team, and have a great weekend.
Thank you so much. We appreciate the support.
All right, so I'm back in. That was Barry from the past. This is Barry from the present. I showed you, or actually not show you, he mentioned the website. It's wow.dhs.gov. And I'm going to show you that website right now, because when they keep saying on television that it's just good people are being arrested and everything else, this is an entire website that they've put together that has outlined everything here. All right, here we go. This is wow, and there it is right there, dhs.gov. And here it is. The word, oh crap, go back into small mode. Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me move it over. Okay. Arrested, the worst of the worst. And it goes through, you can actually go ahead and search where it is that you live or what you're interested in and find out who's been arrested. But these are the ones that they've been caught that were in here who aren't supposed to be here. And so much of this stuff is that kind of stuff. And it's over and over and over. I mean, they did indeed unleash all of these criminals into our country. Almost so many of them, victim less than 13 years. This is who the Democrats are fighting to keep in this country. When you start scrolling through that, and there's a whole bunch to scroll through, that's who the Democrats are trying to keep in this country. There's no excuse for that. Why do you want these people in our country? Well, his boss, that was Harry. Harry's boss was on Fox a little while ago, and he had this to say.
This is a sheriff in Philadelphia who had a message about your agency on Thursday. Watch.
We are not going to whisk you away for them to hide your identity, because when you do it there, you're getting arrested. And so we stand here today with all those who stand against the made-up, fake, what you can call ICE, professional law enforcement. I don't call them none of that. If them want to come in this city and commit a crime, you will not be able to hide. You don't want this smoke, because we will bring it.
How bad is it in Philadelphia that's one of your, chief of police of the county? You put in Moms Mabley, who could barely put a sentence together? That is the chief? You don't want this smoke? That's how you're talking? I'm embarrassed. I am embarrassed that they put that woman. Anyway, here's his response.
Those were on the record comments from that law enforcement official, whose bio, by the way, is very heavy on DEI, the bio that she put out for herself. What is your response to those remarks?
Well, first off, Guy, anytime you pit law enforcement officers against law enforcement officers, it makes nobody safe. This is the exact type of political rhetoric that I've been saying ever since I had the opportunity to be the ICE director, that this increased rhetoric is what's causing the issues right now. You can't pit a local law enforcement officer against a federal law enforcement officer. We are out there trying to do a lawful law enforcement mission, and this rhetoric right here is pure example of what we're facing every day. And I'm not one for like big banter or bluster, but my message to the sheriff is try it.
Yeah, try it. You talk a big game at the podium there. Well, it's not really a big game. You could barely get sentences out of your mouth. You don't want this smoke, yo. That's who you've hired. That's who you've hired to run your police department. Mom's Mabley. I'm probably dating myself by saying the words Mom's Mabley, but y'all can look it up because she's Mom's Mabley. It's getting worse. So let me just show you as the nighttime is going on, even in, let's see here, California. This is what's happening in California. The streets of Los Angeles have now been taken over by thousands of leftist protesters, many of which don't even know what the heck they're protesting. There is nothing organic about any of this. And they're all swamping into the street. At least it's warmer in LA than Minnesota. To no end. There's nothing that they're going to win here. There is no fight that they're going to win. Those of you who have been to LA, it's a pretty big city with millions and millions and millions of people. That's just a small smattering of nuts. I know that, Rachel Maddow went on TV the other day and said, we only need 3% to overturn the government. Good luck. Good luck. This is another view of Los Angeles. Let me rewind this to the beginning. And, the news helicopters show this stuff, but you realize it's a couple hundred people. More people would probably travel down that highway on any given day than in that space than the people standing outside, but we keep focusing on the nuts. Now, I do have something to show you that is kind of disturbing. There's no violence in it, but it's disturbing because it's happening. That it's even happening. So in Minnesota, the Somalis are breaking bad, and they feel that they can surround and assault ICE. Here, let me show you this. This is them, and there's a couple ICE guys there. And here they come out of the woodwork like roaches. And they're surrounding the ICE officers, and they chase the ICE officers out. This isn't good. There's no way this ends well. There's two guys, two ICE officers are now surrounded. This guy's got a dress on, surrounded by a bunch of Somalis and having to retreat. Look at them all. How do you think that's going to end? What do you think President Trump is going to say when he sees this? In Minnesota, the police are not coming. There's no aid coming. They're by themselves. I know President Trump just surged another 1,000 people, but this ain't going to be good. There's no way this is going to be good. Most are old and disabled, a crazy white woman. California, oh, brother. Yeah. Oh, brother is right. Somali thugs. I mean, you're getting the express pass to denaturalization. They're living in a fantasy life. Yeah, I believe that. Said that it's time. It's coming. They want it. They want the clash. They want a Kent State moment. If you guys are not familiar with Kent State, they were protesting the Vietnam War there, and something happened, and the soldiers started firing, and they killed some people. I may have been like half a dozen people got killed. I don't remember. But that's what they want, because they need that in the news. They need that constantly in the news so that people are all riled up. Never mind the fact that Iran's about to fall. Never mind the fact that we got oil from Venezuela and we're doing so well financially. Democrats, libtards, commies don't care about that. Yeah, I saw that. The agent was ready to draw down. If one of those guys had taken a wrong step or did a wrong move, they would have taken him out. It would definitely. That's what I want to know. Send in the sonic laser boom, freaking laser beams on rats or something. Put on laser beams. I'd love to see that. Get that scum out of our country. You know what's going to happen? As I've told you, and I've mentioned a few times here, unfortunately, they're doing these things in areas where it's basically mostly commies and stuff. But one of the things we're going to have to worry about is that good Americans are going to look at this stuff and not want to be good anymore. If that wasn't in a Somali area, I bet you there would have been a whole lot of people who were supportive of the government that would have stepped up. Like, wait a minute, don't worry, bro, you're not alone. I got your back. I got your back. I got your back. And now, what you got to do? That's where we're headed if something doesn't happen. Cutting the globalist money will cut off the commies. Yeah. Okay, somebody went and looked it up. Thank you. In 1970, at Kent State University, 4 people killed, 13 injured. And so you can look that up, but I don't know if they said the guy felt threatened or if he heard a noise, but then they opened up and they killed 4 people. Good old, what's his name? Good old Neil Young made a song about that. Ohio. If you guys want to, back then Neil was kind of cool, but now he's turned into a complete ass. When is Trump going to give Exit the order to bring in military, Marines, Army, Airborne to put a stop to this violence? I don't know. I'm not even going to wager a guess. I'm pretty sure we are almost there. Almost. But I don't think he wants to do it yet. Give them the opportunity to calm down, go back inside, or just pull out for a little while and let them burn whatever they're going to burn. It's in Minnesota and Los Angeles. I mean, it was funny. I drove by Home Depot today and there was a, protest. There's like 10 people who were, F ICE. And on the other side of the road was a whole long line of Trump supporters waving MAGA flags and everything. And I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. Don't try that here. And it really, I was appalled because these people, if you hear them talk, they can't articulate. It's like every other word is F something. F this, F that. It's like, do you have a vocabulary? What is it that you want? F ICE, F ICE. And so there are people holding up F ICE signs with the entire word on it. And I'm like, you realize people are driving up and down this road with their kids in the car. How much of a scumbag are you that you got to have a sign that says F ICE? That's it? That's what you got? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Soldiers are, soldiers are cutting us down. Remembering Ohio. Yeah, it was a good song. MSN wants dozens dead. Democrats want hundreds. Yep, I believe that. All right, just be careful out there, everybody. Be careful. Thanks for tuning in on a Saturday evening. I'm going to have to call AT&T and find out why this thing keeps dropping like it does. I apologize. I want things to be smooth, and I've contacted different people like, we can't figure out why your stream just drops sometimes, but it happens. That's what I was saying earlier. That sound weapon sounds really good to me. Just go ahead and roll out the freaking laser beam and let it just, make them all fall in. Don't give them the full dose. Instead of putting it on 11 like you did in Venezuela, put it like at 2. Put it at 2 where they drop to their knees, poop their pants, and let's give them headaches, and let's dial in some bloody noses, and let's put them to sleep. Can we? What number is that? 4? Okay, give them a 4. Z. Yeah, that would be awesome. Give them the 4. We can't go 11. We can't go past 10 like we did in Venezuela and had people falling out and dying. We don't want them to die. Just let them know we're here. Let them feel. I don't know how those things work, but I have a feeling they have some way of doing that. Well, we shall see. All right, let me do super chats and then I'm going to go watch. I think the football game starts at 8 p.m. Football game, I think it's the Bears again, the Packers. And I'm sure there'll be 70,000 people out in the stands watching the football in the cold weather. I mean, it's got to be Green Bay versus Chicago. I'm thinking no matter which team, I don't know which the home team is tonight, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be like cold no matter what on a January night in either one of those towns. And by the way, we're getting a new coach down here, so things might be better. Got a new GM from the Packers. We got the Packers GM, so we're pretty good with that. Everyone down here is like, all right, we're going to have a new sheriff in town. Things are going to be much better. All right, let me do super chats. Let me make sure the window is correct. The window is not correct. And here we go. All right, here we go. God bless you and your family, and same to you, Rising Phoenix, and to all of you. We're in crazy, especially if any of you live in blue areas. It was so funny. Rob and I actually, it was me. I was by myself driving down the road, and I saw it. I'm on the phone with her. I'm like, "You ain't gonna believe this." She's like, "What? There's a protest. How many people? 10, and they're all white, and they're all about 80." I'm like, what has happened to these old hippies? What has happened to all these old hippies that they're out there? What time's lunch at the diner? Ira, what time we got lunch? And I'm sure it's funny about protests here. That no matter, even though it's January, the sun is hot and you're standing there. And I'm pretty sure at 80 years old, some of these people were, come on, Ira, what time's lunch, Ira? Pekovsky, pop up. Yeah, pop up. Starfleet Tech. It's almost like the paid protesters want to bring the chaos on purpose to create destruction. Oh, it's definitely intentional. Definitely intentional. Chiosop, I hope those 500 rapid response units are ready. Gonna need them. Absolutely gonna need them. Scott saw a repost of Waltz resigning. True or not? I have seen those same posts. In case you're wondering what Scott is saying, there are rumored posts going around that Tim Waltz will be resigning by the end of the week. Don't know. Obviously, I wouldn't know, but there's a lot of people posting that. Is it spam? Is it just, a bunch of crap? I don't know. But now it's out there, and we shall see, because we didn't know he was going to not run for office. So, Scott, I can't confirm, and I don't see any big sources talking about it yet. Pekovsky, thank you again. Irwin, it's not just about us. This is a global operation. Yeah, I believe that. Enter N1 Jim. God will deal with these folks soon. Thank you. Like I said, I think he dealt with it last night. They don't even know they were saved. They don't even know that they were lucky enough not to kick in some door with an ICE agent. Pekovsky, damn UFO. Tinley, imagine Insurrection Act enacted, then drones start hovering all over cities, over states. We are not ready. I keep telling you. I don't know how many times I keep saying, yeah, are you sure you're ready? You can tell we're getting close to something. And today, with all the Democrats deciding to be anti-Hamas overnight, something weird's going on. Something's coming. Be ready. Cutting edge. I believe we have a technological advantage of almost 20 years ahead of China. That's possible. Were the soldiers human? Damn, you went there. I don't know. They're Delta, so wow, good question. Cindy, that's a great question. You stumped me on that one. Cindy Brooke, the world needed this. Thank God for the USA and POTUS. I feel safer already. Yep. Donna, how are you? Can I borrow it? Can you borrow what? I'm not sure. If you want to clip something, feel free. Chiosop, what we did to Maduro and people was enough to let oh, can you borrow the zapper? The big giant bug zapper. I think that's what you're talking about. It was enough to let everyone else around know what time it is. I don't think they want any of this. They truly don't want any of this smoke, as that lady said. Rise of Phoenix, Caroline posted it not to scare people. It was meant for the other nations so they know not to mess with us because we are no longer giving idle threats. Exactly. Victoria, I think I just got a text to be a protester. 1 to 2 hours a week for $300 to $600. We got to cut that funding off more. Nikki, did you know that President Trump's Uncle John acquired all of Nicholas Tesla's experiment and notes? I did not know that, so I'm not surprised we have weapons no one else has. Good point. Good point. Andrew Wessing, testing for the shuttle structure in the 70s. Scientists at the lab in Alabama called it a particular frequency brown note. I don't want to experience it. Have you guys ever been hit with a taser? I always wonder what that felt like. Don't want to do that either. Demon Cybertron, those Timu Seattleites didn't work at all. KPK, wasn't a few months ago the left was telling our military that they did not have to obey orders. The left must be in full panic mode now. They are. You can see it. And the media. Starfleet, check out the CES from 2026. They presented some advanced technology this year. Okay. CES is the big computer exhibition conference. A lot of cool stuff comes out of there. Tania, Barry, I think our president is getting our weapons from Martians and paying them in Coke and Cheetos like in the 80s movie. Oh, man, that's funny. Parker, I've tried 3 times to buy the berry pack. Hit one of the mods up and let me know what you're having a problem with. I will let them know. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and screenshot that so I can let them know that people are having a problem. Okay. Mark Whitner, thank you. John Matarazzo. Huh, I knew a kid named Matarazzo back in the day. I bet it's the Ark of the Covenant. Super weapon. You guys are going deep here. Deep. Good. We need to start thinking deep. What could this stuff be? Buddy Sanders has been following Iran for years. Only 30% are Muslim. Iranian people are fed up. UK, Canada, America. I didn't know that either. Delar Finn, for English-speaking streams regarding Iranian events, who also educate on its history, check out Goldie Garami and Tosi TV. Please keep an eye on Tommy Robinson in the UK. Will do. Hello, Faith. Thank you very much, Faith. Thank you very. I'm downloading this podcast. Thank you, Barry. This is one kick-ass podcast. Thank you, Patriots, for being here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Cutting edge. We're more out of the UN. Yeah, we're getting out of the UNs in one way or the other. Sue, Barry, we need 3 more hours. I can't. I gotta take the wife to eat. Mark Whitner, but thank you. Thank you. Demon Cybertron, Abraham Lincoln cut the money and supplies to win. Yeah, I think it's gonna take that. Something very strong like that. Christina, how are you? Barry Robin is such a sweetheart. We met Monday with the contractor to get our house going. I'm so excited. Awesome. Awesome. Make sure you don't give them too much up front. Make sure they're gonna show up. Fazul, can you get me off the hook, Don, for old time's sake? No. No, the Godfather reference there. DJ Nuff said, the same YouTube page you played about the raid AI Telly posted video today. I encourage you to play it. He's explaining what will happen next week. I will go find that video and take a look at it. Yeah. And notice it says AI. So that was an AI video. But like I said, who knows what fill in the details there. Neo, need more Bibles, Barry. Thanks for so much for winning news. The puzzle pieces are coming together. World's eyes will be open. Thank the Lord for 47. Indeed. Thank you. Chiosop, Frey looks tired. He can't sleep, waiting for the FBI. You imagine being Waltz or Frey or some of these people, and you're sleeping with one eye open because you're like, is he here yet? No, he's still worried about Iran. Oh, so he's not even bothered with us? No, I wouldn't say that. I would still keep sleeping with one eye open. Let me tell you something. Let's hear. Christina, by the way, go Bears all the way to Super Bowl. The Bears. Maverick Mongoose. I'm a trucker. I was there in Minneapolis. It's all fake. Protesters are brought in, paid for. Even the interviews are fake. They're paid actors. The real citizens say they hate Waltz and want them all in jail. Many Republicans, even MAGA. That's why I don't care about it. I don't. I know it's all fake. You're right. Maverick Mongoose. Oh yeah, most of the protesters are from out of state. I believe that 100%. 100%. Let's see here. She cleaned up. Oh, the DEI sheriff? No, Kensington. No, she hasn't done anything about Kensington. She don't care about them. She don't want to give them that smoke. She wants to let those drug addict zombies hang out there. No worry about that. Silly. Natatic. Natatic. Yeah, want to see Trump do something about these tards. It'll be great. I'm going to tell you something in a second. C-Arm. I'm seeing on X that there are people offering to provide lodging to ICE agents and getting others to join in and help ICE, proclaiming, I stand with ICE. We need more of this. Yes, absolutely. That's what I said. Good people are going to start being good until they have to be bad. Mary Kellums. There was a protest at Starbucks near me. There were maybe a handful of kids. I'm serious. I was like, oh, what are they? At first, I didn't know what they were doing. Like, what are they? Oh, F ice. Oh, okay. Great. Donna Meg, I have faith, but wearing thin. I am so full of anxiety, just waiting for something to be done day after day after day, almost to tears. What are you waiting on? You see, Donna, that's the question. What are you waiting on? Because when I look up and I see what's going on, I see stuff happening. That's, I think, some of the problem people have. They say, just keep waiting. What is it you're waiting for? We're seeing a complete world change. We're seeing so many things happen. We're seeing things happen financially. He just had a giant meeting with oil executives. He just got 30 to 50 minutes. What are you waiting for when you're saying, I'm waiting to see if something happens? Are you not seeing it? Seriously. I wonder when I hear people say that, and I love Donna, she's here all the time, but what exactly are people waiting for? It's like you go to a restaurant and you order off the menu and they start bringing you the food that you ordered, but you're still looking to see if there's something else coming out of the kitchen. I don't get it. There is so much happening. It's unreal. Beno Kid, thank you. BLS, hey brother, I was thinking about you today. Barry, check your message. I sent you a text, the group on your phone of the scumbags that got rid of out of Connecticut, and that's only the first page. Wow, I will definitely check that. Is Barry gonna have? Barry's gonna have to increase sales at Domino's. All right, so there is a rumor that Tim Walz may be resigning. We talked about that. There's also a rumor going around. You may see it in Facebook or X or anything. There's a rumor, I haven't been able to verify, that a whole lot of people are going to get indicted next week. And I think I know where that rumor comes from. Remember, today is January 10th. On January 12th, there will be two grand juries impaneled here in South Florida. One will be in Fort Pierce. One will be in Fort Lauderdale. Two. Something tells me you wouldn't be impaneling a grand jury if you weren't seeking indictments. So who knows who's being put in front of the grand jury? Says, I think the 12th is Monday. 12th is Monday. So maybe by Wednesday, we'll hear if people are being indicted. You can look that up. Look up grand jury impaneled in Florida. There are two separate grand juries, one in Fort Pierce, which is north of Palm Beach, and then, of course, Fort Lauderdale. So a lot happening, so much happening. And I'm glad you guys tuned in today on a Saturday. For some reason, our Saturday shows do well, and I love it. And it's 8:30. Go Bears, go Packers, whoever you root for. Hope you guys have a good game. Hope you guys have a good dinner. Hope you guys stay safe. And we'll see what happens tonight. If we hear some more crazy stuff, we may have to go live tomorrow. And by the way, I just want to give a shout out to Ashley and Beth. You're seeing a lot more of the clips being put up the next day because not everybody can sit through a 3-hour show. And so what we're going to be doing is really endeavoring to put up smaller clips, bite-sized clips the following day. And Ashley and Beth have decided they're going to take that on and do it. And I don't even have to touch it. So I wanted to thank them publicly. All right, guys, we'll see you guys maybe tomorrow.